All right, the next type of endangered habitat are arid lands, meaning dry lands. Desertification is something that's been occurring in lots of parts of the world, and it's basically dry ecosystems that are degraded into more severe, unproductive deserts by human actions. And so we see desert areas highlighted on this map in red, and the yellow areas are areas that are vulnerable to desertification. And usually they're the places surrounding deserts. And we can see that there are lots of parts of the world that are vulnerable to desertification. That might not sound bad. It might just sound like, oh, we'll just have more deserts. But a lot of times these areas are not as productive or as biodiverse as you would find in an area that was originally a desert. The main causes are intensive agriculture, overgrazing, and too much firewood harvesting. Um, these types of things destabilize the soil, and then if a drought happens, the topsoil can be blown away. And that's what happened famously in the Dust Bowl in Oklahoma. There was so much dust that it blackened the sky in some places when the Dust Bowl occurred. And the dust was carried a really long way. So it came from areas like Kansas and Oklahoma and was blown, that topsoil was blown all the way to Washington, D.C. When Congress was meeting about this problem, the sky was actually darkened and there was dust being blown that far away. So that's how intensive the Dust Bowl was. And there's a really great documentary on PBS about the Dust Bowl, and I encourage you to watch it. But we see when we overdo it on agriculture and grazing and remove all the plant material and don't have anything covering the soil, if it doesn't rain and we have a drought, wind can just carry our topsoil away. And that is something that's very damaging to our agriculture and how productive our agriculture can be, because we need that topsoil and those nutrients. It takes a long time to build up soil. So desertification basically damages ecosystems so that they can't be used for agriculture or grazing or for generating firewood. And so this shows some pictures. This is a dry land in Senegal, and this is a picture of what it looks like after desertification. This shows a natural desert in Arizona. Natural deserts they're not the highest in biodiversity among our different types of ecosystems, but they're much, much higher than habitat that's been degraded by desertification. And we see that there are still plants. There are very specialized plants in the dry lands that are natural, but we often see no plants and shifting sands and things like that in areas where desertification has occurred. This shows deserts expanding in China. This has been something that China's been trying to prevent more recently because they see it as a major problem. If we have things like actual shifting sands, you can see areas vulnerable to having sand blown over places where people live, agricultural areas, because other areas just haven't, once the vegetation is removed, there's nothing to hold that sediment down. And we can see these kind of different areas in China in the map, and we can also see the change in the amount of these different ecosystems through time in China.